Did I ever tell you about the time back in the days when I used to work at a GM dealership, when one of the dealership owner's sons, who was working as a salesman at the time, phoned in a bomb that he had found at the rear of the dealership lot? This is a true story. It reminds me, or I'm reminded of this story by all of the hullabaloo around Ahmed Mohamed, the clock boy. And apparently now he and his family are suing the school district in Irving, Texas for some $15 million. I'm not sure what for. I'm not aware that he suffered any physical harm. And I believe, from what I understand, that this is a zero tolerance policy school when it comes to these things. I mean, people have been questioned and taken into custody for less, like a piece of bread chewed in the shape of a gun, that sort of thing. And the gullibility of people, I find it really, on some levels, frightening. That right up to the President of the United States of America, the leader of the free world, as it is said, could be so easily fooled, so easily duped. And I'm not sure what the truth is here. I don't know what the actual, I don't know if this was a high school prank gone wrong. I don't know if this was something where Ahmed Mohamed was coached by his father. We do know that his sister had called in bomb threats previously, and apparently Ahmed Mohamed was known to be somewhat of a prankster. I'm not sure what the intent was here, but what I am sure of is that nobody with any technical or electronics knowledge whatsoever should have been fooled into thinking that this was some sort of a invention. As Ahmed Mohamed keeps saying, I saw one of the interviews with him where he said, I'm not going to stop inventing things. And my suggestion to him would be that he start inventing things. I was a pretty industrious kid. I grew up very poor, no running water, no electricity. We had an outhouse, root cellar. We had a hand pump for water outside the house. It was a luxury when we were able to get indoor plumbing. And because of that, I had to kind of invent things of my own, anything that I wanted. I used to have a whole bunch of old engine blocks, which I painted. I painted with house paint, green for the engine block and like yellow for the cylinder head and red for the valve cover, as I was sort of teaching myself about these different things. These were engines that I'd hauled out of cars that were in the back 40 down, in the backyard somewhere, and assembled them and put them on little stands and that sort of thing. I invented all kinds of different things that I actually invented, where I was using my ingenuity to put disparate parts together from different machinery to make something that I wanted. It was usually need-driven, or want-driven, I guess is a better term for it. My brother was probably even more industrious than I was. A lot of imagination and a lot of ingenuity born out of necessity from kind of lack of resources. Where was I going with that? Well, so I have an understanding of what inventing is, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And this clock is nothing of the sort. Back to the story about the dealership. So the son of the dealership owner called in what he thought was a bomb. And they were actually getting a bomb squad, which is there's not one locally here. So they called in the local constabulary. They also put in a call for a bomb squad to come from a faraway town. And they were on their way. We were all instructed to stay away from the thing, etc., etc. The police showed up, and they didn't really recognize the thing for what it was. Finally, one of the technicians sort of peeks his head out while he's on his smoke break. He says, that's an airbag module from a car. Well, that's odd. What is a car part doing in the back lot of a car dealership, right? It was behind the body shop, so I surmise what happened was they had taken it out, and I'm not sure what happened. It was near the dumpster, the garbage bin, so it may have been put in the garbage bin and someone pulled it out and set it on the wall. It was actually on the back wall of the dealership that separated our business from another business. I'm not sure how it got on the wall, but as this salesman wandered out there, he saw this thing he couldn't identify, and he thought, well, that must be a bomb, or it could be a bomb, and called in for a bomb squad. So they quickly scrambled to call the bomb squad off, and to avoid any more embarrassment by having them come all the way there. And I guess, for me, the lesson was sort of, I think it's a little bit embarrassing when you are the son of the owner of the dealership and you can't even recognize a car part, and everyone else, it was the joke of the day. This clock, I think, is similar. I think even more of a layperson should be able to quickly identify it. And of course, nowadays with the internet, it doesn't take much time to go and check some of these things out. And a lot of electronics experts had sort of weighed in on this and said, there's a couple of good videos, right, of people saying, here's how you make this invention. And they buy the little pencil case and they open it up and they take a screwdriver and they open up this clock and they take the guts out and they just throw it into the little pencil case, the briefcase facsimile pencil case. And there you have it, right? I'm a little bit blown away that anybody would be fooled by such a thing, and that anyone would legitimately think that this kid shows a lot of promise. I've heard said by Mark Cuban that he is a highly intelligent boy. I think he's relating what he was told by different teachers and whatnot. Well, I'm not doubting that he's highly intelligent, but if he's highly intelligent, then clearly he knew that this is not an invention. And I don't know if he's sticking to the story out of necessity or what, or if he is still smugly just like, I can't believe I'm duping like the world. At least a lot of the important people in the world who maybe shouldn't be so important if they're that clueless. And to me, this is very similar to the embarrassment of that person working at a car dealership not being able to recognize a very standard issue car part, and people not being able to recognize a clearly obvious non-invention, taking apart one thing and throwing it into a different housing and calling it an invention. And also saying that, how was I to know that this would spark all this scrutiny on me when his sister, again, had been known for calling in bomb threats. And to say that it's Islamophobic, to focus on this kid, I think is actually is racist in and of itself without some evidence that there is a racial component to this, which I don't think you have. Nobody said, this kid's a Muslim, get in here. What was said was, there is a mock bomb here and we need this investigated. And of course, the kid was pretty elusive and kind of smug, apparently, when he was being investigated by the police. The last thing I want to say, I know this has gotten rambly, it's almost 8 minutes now. The last thing I want to say is a lot of people on the internet, and this is really what sparked me to make this video, a lot of people on the internet are saying, yeah, I hope he wins his case, that he should get more money than that. 15 million doesn't even begin to cover the cost, He's gotten accolades all over the world. He's been given scholarships, got to sit down with Obama and the Facebook founder and all that sort of thing. What people forget is that if you sue the school district of Irving, Texas, you're not suing the school district. The school district doesn't have any money. It gets its money from people. You are taking that money from innocent people, and I'm not sure exactly why it is that those people should be made to suffer or be punished. They hire those people. They have a policy at that school. The people followed the dictates of that policy. The boy wasn't harmed in any way. I think he's actually done quite okay for himself. I think it would be quite an injustice if you were to win this court case. I should clarify something I said earlier. I said something about the claims that the scrutiny placed on Ahmed Mohamed by the school system and the sheriff's office are born out of some sort of Islamophobia, and that if those claims aren't substantiated by any kind of evidence to that fact, that is in and of itself racist. And what I'm referring to here, of course, is the idea that accusations of racism are the one thing you can't really often, successfully defend yourself against. It's sort of like the more you try to argue, even if your intent is pure and they have no evidence behind the claims or the accusations of racism, it's almost impossible to defend yourself against it without making yourself look worse, especially if you're part of the establishment or if you happen to be of white Western European descent, which is interesting. In our current climate, that's a racist stereotype, right? That all white people are racist, right? That's a racist stereotype. And again, it's very difficult to defend yourself from the accusations of racism, even if they are completely baseless. And so it becomes used as a bit of a tool. It's a silencing tool, much in the same way that accusations of sexism are used quite often as a tool to silence men. Very difficult to defend yourself from that kind of an accusation. Let me know what you think. And please do not tell me in the comment section that you think there's any legitimacy to this claim that this was some kind of an invention and showed any kind of promise. because it don't. An invention made from Lego would show more creativity. Thanks for watching.